is talking about arayot, all the women that are asur for men, and therefore we found that that parasha we also read on Yom Kippurim. Mincha Yom Kippurim, Korin ve'arayot. Why is that we read Parashat Arayot on Mincha Yom Kippurim? So Tosfot over there in the Gemara says לפי שהנשים מקושטות בשביל כבוד היום, לפיכך צריך להזכירם שלא ייכשלו בהם. This is how Tosfot brings down on that Gemara Megillah Lamed Aleph, that since the lady is coming dressed up, very pretty, in the honor of the day, therefore we need to tell people that they should be very careful from them. במנחה יום הכיפורים קוראים באריות, אז תוספות again, לפי שאנשים מקושטות בשביל כבוד היום, לפיכך צריך להזכירם שלא ייכשלו בהם. And therefore, that's a good opportunity right now to speak about the dress code for women, because there is a lot of confusion. What's mutar, what's asur, and what's necessary. Many people think that the Torah wants women to dress up like they call today the Taliban women, completely covered, or as more covered, the better. Many people think that it's not so. There's all kind of different theories when yes and when no. Today we'll try to organize that step by step. First of all, the idea of women being pretty, according to the Torah, it's not something negative at all. On the contrary, that's something positive. And should a man look to marry a woman that is pretty, we have a lot of Gemarot and a lot of Chazalim that support the idea that a person looking for a shidduch would get something positive out of the look of the women. And therefore, when you look for a shidduch, don't think that it's unnecessary to find somebody who's pretty. Rather, the Torah says it's very important to have that look. And take a look in the Gemara, for instance, in Shabbat, Kafeh Amud Bet. The Gemara says over there, Mai vatiznach mishalom nafshi, amar Abahu zo adlakat ner Shabbat. What does it mean? Nashiti tova, Rabbi Abba amar zo mita mutzat, veisha mekushetet letalmidei chachamim. The Gemara that praises that, the one wants to know what is the praise on the pasuk. The praise goes on a wife that is dressed up nicely for a Talmid Chacham. So should a Talmid Chacham that has all his time and his ideas are in the Torah should completely ignore and that be involved with the looks? It says over here, not so. It says in that Gemara that Isha Mekushetet leTalmidei Chachamim, a woman that's dressed up nicely, pretty, for a Talmid Chacham, that's a very positive thing. And it says in Orchot Chaim LeRabbi Aaron HaKohen Milunil, which is a Rishon, that's how he writes in Ilchot Ktubot, Chelek Bet. He writes, נראה מזה שאסור לתלמיד חכם להניח אשתו שתתנבל אפילו בימי אבלה. A תלמיד חכם should not allow his wife to look not pretty in his house, even when she is avela, as the halacha says in the Shulchan Aruch, that even when a woman is avela, lo alenu, still she must dress up nicely for her husband and even put makeup after the shiva. It says like this in Yoreh De'ah Shin Pei Aleph, Isha lo tikhol ve'lo tefarkes bimei evla. In the 7 days, a woman should not put eyeshadow and all kind of other makeup when she is still in the Mei Avelut. But Eshet Ish ena asura ela toch shiva. A regular woman should go 30 days. But when she's married, she only keeps 7 days. After the 7 days, אחר שבעה מותרת בכל כדי שלא תתגנה על בעלה. After 7 days, she should completely put makeup and dress up nicely for her husband. So this is how the אורחות חיים says, נראה מזה שאסור לתלמיד חכם להניח אשתו שתתנבל אפילו בימי אבלה, כדי שלא תתגנה בעיניו. וכן בכל אשת איש. Don't think that this is only for a תלמיד חכם, but rather it's every woman, every wife should look nice and pretty for her husband. אלא צריך להישמר יותר לתלמיד חכם. But תלמיד חכם needs to make sure more than that, because he has, since he's involved in the Torah picks up the Yetzer Hara as well with that, with the learning, and therefore he needs to be even more careful. That's how this Rishon says, the Pele Yoetz brings in Erech Yofi, שקר החן והבל היופי. What does it mean? אם מוצא יופי ויראת השם במקום אחד, בוודאי שיבחר ויקרב גם את היופי. If a person can find a shidduch that has two things, yirat Hashem and beauty, of course he should take something that has beauty as well. שהרי אמרו, Chazal told us in Ktubot Nuntet, אין אישה אלא ליופי. The most important thing by a woman is the beauty. וראוי לכל אדם להשתדל לקחת לבניו נשים יפות. A person should try to find for his children pretty women, כדי שלא ייתנו עיניהם באחרת. וכן מטעם זה ילביש את אשתו. A person is obligated to buy clothing, nice clothing for his wife. וקונה לה תכשיטים ביותר. A person should go and try to spend extra money to buy her all kind of jewelry. ביותר ממה שיש לו, even more than his ability. כדי שתמצא חן בעיניו ולא ייתן עיניו באחרת. In order that she should look pretty in his eyes. So here's a mitzvah from the Sefer Pele Yoetz. One should spend more money than his ability in order to buy his wife clothing that are pretty and jewelry. And this is how the Yavetz write on Yevamot Samech Gimel Amud Bet. Chazal tell us unbelievable memra. It says over there, Isha Yafa Ashrei Ba'ala. When a person has a pretty woman, Ashrav praises that person. Mispar Yamav Kiflaim. He lives a double life. Some Mefarshim want to learn that it means that his days look like double, which means he completely enjoys every day of his life when he has a pretty wife. So what does the Agaot Yavetz tell us there? It says, Kamash malan shelo isa keura. The Gemara, what's the Gemara message over here? That a person that has a beautiful life lives a happier life. Says the Yavetz, yes, a person should learn that shelo isa keura. Do not marry someone who's not pretty in your eyes. Kedei shelo yiten enav be'eshet chavo. In order not to look at the wrong places. So here's the Gemara commending and saying, a mitzvah, אשרי אישה יפה, אשרי בעלה מספר ימיו כפליים. Comes the Agaot Yavetz and tells us that this comes to teach us that halacha that one should marry a pretty wife, לא יישא כעורה. An unbelievable Or HaChaim HaKadosh in Parashat Vayetze, when the Torah tells us that Rachel was a beautiful woman on the pasuk, ורחל הייתה יפת תואר ויפת מראה. Says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, על דרך אומרם בדין זיווג תלמיד חכם שצריך שתהיה לו אישה נאה כנגד יצר הרע. That comes to tell us that when he came to marry Rachel, what was the idea behind it? Yaakov is looking at the beauty of Rachel. He comes to teach us, not for Yaakov, rather for every Talmid Chacham that should know that he should look for a woman that's going to be pretty. על דרך אומרם בדין זיווג תלמיד חכם שצריך שתהיה לו אישה נאה כנגד יצר הרע, in order to be able to defeat the יצר הרע. וגם כי השתנה יעקב למעליותה, says the Or HaChaim הקדוש, שמושלל מיצר הרע. יעקב אבינו was different. He didn't have any יצר הרע. So therefore he really didn't care, says the Or HaChaim הקדוש, about the beauty of Rachel. So why the Torah tells us about her beauty? עם כל זה התורה תלמד לאדם דעת, which means this comes to teach for us, not for Yaakov. Yaakov Avinu didn't care about the beauty at all, says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. He married a beautiful woman, but that the Torah comes to point out for us that the Talmid Chacham, even Talmid Chacham, and others as well, should make sure to marry a pretty wife in order to be able to defeat the יצר הרע. עם כל זה התורה תלמד לאדם דעת. And this is how the Gemara says in Brachot, Nun Zayin Amud Bet, שלושה מרחיבים דעתו של אדם. There's three things that widen your horizons. You start thinking in much broader way. You start understanding things much better. It's מרחיב דעתו של אדם. There are people that narrow thinkers, and there are people that are more broad, can understand things. The outlook is much better. What are the three things Chazal tell us that help you broaden your mind? Dirana, Ishana, Vekelim Naim. You should have a beautiful house, you should have beautiful utensils, and a beautiful wife. Dirana, Ishana, Vekelim Naim. And this is how the Gemara says in Ta'anit Lamed Aleph, En Isha Ela Leyofi. In Ktuvot Nun Tet it says, En Isha Ela Lenoi. The Radak brings down in Bereshit, Kaftet Yud Gimel, Lama mechazrin achar isha yafa. Why should a person look to marry a pretty wife? Lefi she'atzura na'a mesamachat ha'adam. When you see a pretty thing, that gives you happiness, that makes you happy, and that's an important thing. Don't think that you just can let go of that. That's something that the Torah gives it weight and gives it importance. And this is how it says in the Gemara Shabbat Tzadikei that when Hakadosh Baruch Hu puts Adam to sleep, what did he do at that time? He made Chava look pretty. Vayiven Elokim et hatzela, melamed, says the Gemara, shekil'a Kadosh Baruch Hu lechava ve'evia etzel Adam. Kadosh Baruch Hu made Chava look beautiful. He made her hair and brought her in front of Adam Arishon. So we see from all that how important to marry a woman that you really like, that you feel that you could enjoy. And this is how the Torah tells us also about how a woman should dress up for a husband. We think that a woman could just be wear anything that she has in the house, whether it's not so nice, whether it's worn out, whether it's old. That's not true. The Torah says that there's an obligation, a complete obligation. Could be that this is the most important thing that a wife does in a house, that a woman does in a house, and that is she should dress up pretty for her husband. And this is how it says in Kohelet Rabbah Peitet Chet. It says over there that Bar Kapara ורב יצחק בר כפרה אמרי לאשתו של בולדריס שהייתה מקשטת עצמה לפני שכנותיה. They saw this woman that was a wife of Buldaris that used to look pretty outside her house in front of the neighbors. She should dress up pretty. אמרו לשכנותיה, בעלך אינו כאן, בפני מי את מקשטת את עצמך? Why is it that you're dressing up like this? Your husband is not there. That's not the right thing to do unless your husband is here. So if your husband is here, dress up pretty. But what are you doing over here in front of the neighbors? אמרה להם בעלי מלאכו, my husband is a sailor. אם יזדמן לו מעט רווח, תכף יבוא. If he gets a little bit of profit, he right away will come back home. And I don't know, he could come in any second, any moment. נמצא עומד למעלה מראשי, לא מוטב שיראו אותי בכבודי ולא בניבולי. Isn't it better that I should be dressed up right now and make sure that if he comes, he sees me respectful and not benivuli, not disrespectful. And they accepted that answer. So we see how much it's important for a wife to dress up for her husband. In the Gemara Bava Kama Pei Bet, we say that Asara Takanot Tiken Ezra. Ezra Hanavi made 10 decrees that every person should follow, Am Yisrael should follow. ואחד מהם was שיהיו רוכלים מחזירים באריות משום תכשיטי נשים כדי שלא יתגנו על בעליהם. One of the 10 תקנות, 10 only תקנות that Ezra found very, very important to establish that people should follow is that the salesmen that go around selling jewelry, selling perfumes, and all kind of different things for the women should go around to their cities in order to bring it and make it available. The Gemara explains that what does it mean that he made such a takana? It means, the Gemara explains that normally there's a isur of hasagat gvul. This is how it says in Baba Batra Kafbet, which means you're not allowed to open a business right near your friend's business. If your friend has a certain store, you can't open the same thing. There's rules to it. I'm saying things very general, but that rule, even if it happens to fit all the restrictions and it should be asur, it's uplifted for rochlim. This is how it says in that Gemara that tiken Ezra shiur rochlim me'ir acheret mechazrim ba'ayarot. They could come from a different city, although they don't belong here. When normally it should be asur, it should be restricted. But when we're talking about rochlin that sell women all kind of perfumes and jewelry and good, nice clothing, those were allowed to come to the place and sell it over there. So this is how important that is, that Chazal say such leshonot on such a thing, and this is how it's brought down in the Mefarshim, such sentence, אוי למי שאין לה בעל ומתקשטת, ואוי למי שיש לה בעל ואינה מתקשטת. Terrible is that woman that has a husband, but she doesn't dress up for him. Of Haigon writes a little bit different and much more strict. It says, תבוא מארה לאישה שיש לה בעל ואינה מתקשטת. She should be cursed. A woman that doesn't dress up nicely, doesn't put jewelry when she has a husband, should be cursed. תבוא מארה לאישה שיש לה בעל ואינה מתקשטת. Once a woman is married, she's obligated. There's no permission to wear things that are not pretty. She must dress up very, very nicely for her husband. And this is how it says in Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer about what we explained before, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Chava beautiful for Adam, and it adds over there in Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer that he put her 24 different jewelries. בשעה שהקדוש ברוך הוא הרדים את אדם, קישט את האישה בכ"ד קישוטים, 24 different kind of jewelries around in order to make her look so purity. וחז"ל למדו מזה שהאישה צריכה להתקשט לבעלה. חז"ל learned from that a woman is obligated to dress up nicely for her husband. And this is how the Gemara brings down in Ta'anit Kaf Gimel. One of the holiest of the holy was Abba Chilkiah bar Bre de Chonia Me'agel, which means he was a grandson of Chonia Me'agel. His name was Abba Chilkiah, grandson of Chonia Me'agel. We all know the stories about Chonia Me'agel, how he was able to do miracles. This Abba Chilkiah, that was his grandson, had the same qualities as his grandfather. He was bringing rain whenever it was needed. Whenever Chachamim saw that the world needs rain and Am Yisrael doesn't have enough rain, they would send to request the rain from Abba Chilkiah. Abba Chilkiah would stand in front of Hashem in Tefillah, and the rain would come pouring down. It seems like he was even greater than his grandfather that had to close himself down in a circle for so many years. He didn't even need to do that. He went to speak straight to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We need rain. Hashem brought it right down. And therefore, we would expect from him to be completely holy. What's the holiest of holy? Says the Gemara the following. Yom Achad, Itz Tricha Alma Lemitra. One time, the world needed rain. Shadur Zuga de Rabbanan legabele mibae rachme. They sent couple of rabbis to Abba Chilkiah to ask for rain. Azal leveite velo ashkachu. They went to his house. He wasn't there. So they understood. He went to the field. Azul ledabra vashkachu. They went to the field. They found him there. Kimata lemata. When he came back home to the city, nafka David hu leapeki mekashta. His wife came out to greet him with all dressed up, with all the jewelry and nice clothing. Kimekashta. So later on, when they came home, they asked him, that's very strange. Why did your wife come out so dressed up to the city? So he answered this unbelievable answer. Amar lehem, שאלו, מה טעמה כמעט ומר למטה, נפקא דביתו דמר kimekashta. אמר להם, כדי שלא ייתן עיניי באישה אחרת, in order for me not to look at a different woman. Therefore, my wife was so concerned, and that's why she's doing that extra mitzvah of looking pretty. And this is how we found that Chazal established special takanot that a woman should come out with jewelry to Reshut, to the Chatzer. It says over there in the Gemara in Shabbat Samech Daled that they allowed women to come out to the Chatzer with all kind of jewelry, כדי שלא תתגבה על בעלה. And this is how the Gemara this is how the halacha is posek in Shin Gimel, that we're not saying anything to a woman, although normally there would be restrictions of what you're allowed to wear and not you're not allowed to wear. It's not that everything is mutar. You have some things that a woman is allowed to come out with and things that are not. But all were uplifted, says the Shulchan Aruch, in order to make sure that a woman should look nice, and with that they allowed all kind of things. It says over there in Yuma Dafa in Gimel that hetiru lekala lirchotz panea beyom kippurim. A kala that just got married we're talking about a kala that should look to wash her face and look pretty for her new husband. And the Gemara speaks about in many places about the importance of dressing up nicely, as it says, for instance, in Gemara, Bava Kama Tzadik Aleph, that Rabbi Yochanan kari lemane machbeduta, which means my clothings are those that honor me. The person that wears respectful clothing is respected. A person that wears disrespectful clothing, people don't respect him. A person that wears pretty clothing, people give him that importance. So one needs to know that this is something that's not that he shouldn't ignore, and he should do as has this 8 clothing, special clothing that Hashem commended him. And the Ramban adds of it, מפוארים, כמו שאמר כתוב, כחתן יכוון פאר, which means in order for that to honor him, if you dress up in such a way, you'll be honored. And therefore, since way, and this is how תכונות טובות, שהם מלבושי הנפש. And that's what the pasuk says, ועשית בגדי כבוד, בגדי livable yesod, that the Malbim teaches us. The clothing of a person teach us about the inner clothing. A person has inner clothing that the Kabbalah speaks about. There's malbushim, there's pnimiyut, chitzoniyut, but that belongs to the Kabbalah. But what the Malbim can tell us, al pi pshat, is that you need to know that the clothing of a person actually tell you about what's inside of a person, the clothing of the inside of the person. And this is again is lashon of bgadim, morim al bgadim pnimiyim. The clothing indicate and show and explain and express how the inside of a person is. שיעשו אותם הכהנים להלביש את נפשותיהם במידות ובתכונות טובות. That when you do that, that builds up the good character traits, midot tovot utchonot tovot, שהם מלבושי הנפש. And this is what it says in the pasuk, ועשית בגדי קודש כבוד. So we know that a person, according to his clothing, that's the way he behaves. When a person wears clothing that are chashuv, he wears a suit, he behaves very different than he wears just a tank top and a shorts. Then the whole look makes an impression on the person himself, and that's the way he starts behaving as well. When a person wears tennis clothing, so you'll see he walks different than when a person wears a suit and walks down the street. It could be the same person, he just changed clothing, and all of a sudden he walks differently, he looks at things differently, he behaves and talks differently. That has an impact of a person, and therefore, for us today, we need to know how important it is for a woman to dress up in a way that she'll be respected. So we need to explain exactly when we found in different places in the Torah that the Torah looks at the women that wore nice clothing and attractive clothing in a very, very bad way. And the Torah tells us that the punishment of the Churban came because of them. It says in Yeshaya Gimel, all kind of different leshonot of what the women used to dress up back then, and because of that, how the destruction came and what have happened to them. So, L'chora, all these things were very negative, but when you take a look at the psukim, and you take a look at the mefarshim on those psukim, you'll see what is the reason they were punished. And for instance, it says over there that the reason for anything, all these things that were negative, is kitachat yofi. That's how it ends up in that parasha. Kitachat yofi. What does that mean? Rashi says on those words, kizot ogenet liot lahem tachat yofi shayu mishtachatzot bo. They used to show off. When a person shows off to others, that is something negative. That's how it comes out, which means you can wear the same clothing as long as they're not provocative clothing, they're not attractive clothing, they are respectful and nice clothing. But if you don't do such a thing in order to show off, which means even those respectful clothing could be done in a way of showing off, pretty clothing could be done in a way to show off, that is something negative. The Metzudat David says, רוצה לומר, כי כן ראוי והגון להם במקום שהיו מייפות את עצמם בפני נואפים, which means they do it in front of those that are called נואפים, and therefore that is something that not acceptable, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu couldn't tolerate such a thing. The Marikra says the same idea, כי דבר זה הראה להם בעוון שהיו מייפות את עצמם לזנות ועבירה. If the intention is for זנות ועבירה, for sinning, that's the reason they dress up in such a way. Obviously, that's not acceptable in any way. The Radak says, היו הנשים מתגאות ביופיין ומראות עצמם בשוק וברחובות. They used to show off their beauty and their clothing and their jewelry outside in the marketplace, in the streets, and that is the reason for all these things that happen so negative. So if you take a look at the psukim say few things. There's a list of things that they did wrong, and normally those things that they did wrong, every woman is allowed to dress like this, and could be that she's obligated. For instance, it says in the pasuk, meshakrot ba'enayim. What does it mean, meshakrot ba'enayim? Rashi says, tzov'ot enehem besikra uvekchol. They put eyeshadow, and they put all kind of color on the eyes. That's something that's absolutely allowed according to halacha. And not only that, we said before that Ezra tiken shiur ochlim, those available, and they should put those things up. So therefore, what was wrong in that? Rashi adds, meshakrot ba'enayim lashon habata, romzot, as the Radak says, romzot ba'enayim shelchu achareim labayit. They used to look at people, either make eye contact with men, which is definitely a big sin and not acceptable. The Radak says that they used to show with their eyes, hint with, come with me, the whole, which means the makeup around, but it depends what your intention is. If the intention is to look pretty for your husband or to look respectful in the street, that's mutar. But if you do it in order to look pretty outside and not respectful, pretty and attractive outside, that's not acceptable. And a person also should not do all kind of motions or all kind of eye contacts. That is also something that is asur. It says, for instance, the next thing over there, haloch v'tafof telechna. When they would walk, they would do something that's called tafof. What does it mean? Rashi says, היו קושרות פאות נוכריות שיראו גסות ותופפות. They used to wear wigs, very, very big wigs, which means they used to make up their hair on a very, on such a way they would make it up in such a way that would be very attractive, very high, very big, tisroket. And that's how it says on the Lashon Tafof, Rashi says, Lashon Tzaf al gaveh chavero. They will make it higher than all others in order that they should attract the eye. ארוכה מהלכת בין שתי קצרות, כדי שתהיה נראית צפה למעלה מהם. Another thing that they used to do is a tall woman would walk together with two short women on both sides in order to attract attention that people should look at her. So when you wear a wig is absolutely mutar. But if your intention to wear a wig is in order to attract the eye and you make it look extremely noticeable, and the whole idea and the whole reason is to attract attention, that is not acceptable. Beraglehem te'akasna, with their feet, they did something called te'akasna. What is that? Says Rashi, שהיו עוברות בשוק אצל בחורי ישראל, דורסתו ברגלו ורומזת צעד חיבת נואפות, כדי להעביר בו יצר הרע כאקסיה של נחש. The Gemara explains that they used to, when they used to pass through boys, they used to step on their feet on some kind of good smell, and that would be like today they would put an extra amount of perfume in order that people should be attracted to that. And that is all these things that that brought to the Khurban, all these things that brought the bad things, all these things that brought a punishment upon them. But normally, if a woman does all these things, she puts a respectable amount of perfume and a respectable sheitel, a wig, that's absolutely mutar. And we have to now make sure to organize things and see how a woman should look in the house and outside the house. And we found over here a contradiction, because we found that outside the house a woman could dress up nicely. We do find that a woman could dress up nicely outside, but we found many places in the poskim that tell us that outside the house she should not look pretty, and that she should not look beautiful or attractive. What does that mean? The Chidah, for instance, says in הדברים אחדים, אוי לה לאותה בושה, איפה צניעות בנות ישראל, כי אין האישה האחת צנועה מתקשטת אלא לבעלה. The woman should only dress up nicely only for her husband, not for outside. And that's what the pasuk says, כי כל כבודה בת מלך פנימה משבצות זהב לבושה. She should dress up clothing with gold inside the house, כל כבודה בת מלך פנימה, not outside. דלפנים בביתה תתקשט לבעלה, inside the house, she do that. She must do that, but not outside. In פרי מגדים, for instance, in ספר אם לבינה writes, מה שאמרו חז"ל, אישה לקשט לפני בעלה, ודאי כל בנות ישראל כשרות ומקשטות לפני בעלה, לא חס ושלום בפני אחרים. A woman should dress up and look pretty for her husband, not for others. This is how it keeps on going in many places that we found such a thing, that only for the husband, the Chafetz Chaim writes in his Sefer that a woman should dress up nicely only inside the house and not outside the house. And therefore, we need to organize things, because we saw before that Abba Chilkiah had his wife going outside pretty, and we saw the story from the Kohelet Rabbah that they dressed up nicely. So how is it possible? Are they allowed to dress up nicely outside? Over here in the Gemara in Megillah that we started with, that they used to dress up pretty, mekushatot, on Yom Kippur and come to shul. And so what's the gdarim over here? How do you organize everything? Shevet HaLevi gives us a little bit of an idea how to organize things when he was asked in Chelek Vav, Orach Chaim Siman Lamed Bet. He writes the following. Someone asked him, a rabbi asked him, Sha'al benashim hamekashtot atzman, women that dress up, make themselves pretty, ach verak asher yotzot chutza velo bebetam. When they come out of their house, they dress up, but not in their house. האם זה נכון שדעת כבוד מעלתו שזו בגדר פריצות? This person that asked feels this is פריצות, it's not the correct way to do things. So it answers the Shevet HaLevi. הנה, הכל תלוי בכוונת הלב. Everything has to do with the intention of the woman. As we explained before, it depends what's your intention when you're dressing up in such a way. ובצורה שהן עושות. Secondly, how do you dress up? Are you dressed up attractive, or you dressed up nice? דאף אגב שעיקר קישוט נגד בעלה, it's true that the kishut, the being attractive, looking pretty, is meant for the husband. עיין שבת סמך ד' כדי שלא תתגנה על בעלה. It brings other proofs that we didn't say before. ולאידך גיסא, on the other hand, היא מקשט את עצמה ביותר if she dresses up overly, ובאופן המושך העין, in order to attract an eye, בצאתה לחוץ. הלוא זה עוון בנות ישראל בשעת החורבן. This is the reason that the Churban came, as we just explained, that Bnot Israel dressed up in such a way that was attractive. They did it extra in order to bring all kind of people looking at them. מקום שהיו מתבשמות, נשאו נימוקים. So what is the correct way? Says the Shevet HaLevi, רב ווזנר זצ"ל, עברה הרבה נהגו שבבית לא מקפידות כל כך על זה. Some truly are not מקפיד, they're not so careful in the house. וגם הבעל אינו מקפיד, and sometimes the husband doesn't care about it at all. מה שאין כן כשיוצאות שאינן רוצות להתבזות, כשמקשטות באופן ממוצע. When they come out of the house, in order to look respectful and not to be disrespectful, שלא אינן רוצות להתבזות, in order not to look degrading. מתקשטות באופן ממוצע, they dress up on a medium way, ממוצע. להיות מכובדת, in order to look respectful. הנה זה דרך העולם ואין בידינו למחות. And that is the normal way of dressing up. אלו שמקשטות במיני תכשיטים הרבה בהפרזה יתרה, but those that dress up overly and put extra jewelry and extra perfumes, עד שמושכת עליה עין רואה, לאו דווקא של פריצות אלא שקנקינת רעתה, that's definitely ודאי איסור הכעבדי. So which means like this, we have over here 3 categories that we need to understand. A woman in a house must dress up attractive for her husband. All these things that we read before, we'll see that it's an obligation. A woman does not have a choice. Maybe she'll wear the rags home, maybe she'll wear some kind of pajamas home when the husband's there. No, when her husband is home, or when her husband is possibly coming home, as we saw in Kohelet Rabbah, that maybe on the possibility that he would come right now, a woman needs to look attractive for her husband. So an obligation. Once she comes out of the house, she needs to look respectful and nice. Not attractive and not pretty. Respectful and nice. When she's together with her husband outside, she goes with the husband, then she needs to look pretty. These are the 3 categories that you have over here. When a woman goes to work, she goes to work in an office, she goes to work in school, she goes to work as a teacher, whatever it is, she should look respectful, says the Shevet HaLevi. בדרך ממוצעת, medium way, moderate, not too pretty, and not too, definitely not attractive, and look nice, as we would categorize it as nice. Look nice and respectful. But when she goes with her husband, they're going together. So therefore, it's not enough to look nice. As we saw over here, she needs to be mekushetet, but in a moderate way as well, which means over now she needs to be with her husband, he needs to be pretty. Very important that when you come home, there's no choice for a woman to look with the rags that we explained before. Rather, she needs to look attractive. Now, it's true that some women are not makpid on this, and the Shevet HaLevi said that הרבה בבית לא מקפידות, וגם הבעל אינו מקפיד, unless they go outside, he's not מקפיד. So, the Shevet HaLevi, let's go on such a thing. But when you take a look at the other Sfarim, they speak very, very harshly that a woman must look pretty at home and look beautiful at home and look even more so attractive at home in order so a husband to keep the husband happy and not to make her husband sin. And this is how it's brought down in the Zohar, for instance, as well, that we said before. לא תתחזי אישה בקישותיה, בר כדאי בבעלה, אזי תתראה ותתקן כדי יהוד. The Zohar in Shir HaShirim Nun-Hey says that a woman must look beautiful with all the attractive clothing when she is together with her husband. And this is how we read over and over from different sources. So one needs to know that this is the correct manner. 3 different levels. You go to a place that your husband is not going to be there. You go shopping. You need to know that it used to be in olden times that the woman would not get out of the house. The Rambam says that a woman should not get out of the house at all, maybe once or twice a month if really necessary. This is how he writes down. Today things have changed. The Tanchuma, Parashat Vayishlach Piska Hey, writes Rabbanan Amri, אף בכל לצאת בהם לרשות הרבים, מפני שהעם מסתכלים בה. A woman is not allowed to come out to רשות הרבים because people look at her. ופגם הוא לאישה, it's a negative thing for a woman, it's a פגם, a blemish for a woman when a man looks at her. שלא ניתנו תכשיטים לאישה, אלא שתהיה מקושטת בהם לתוך ביתה. Jewelry and clothing and looking pretty were given to a woman only in her house, inside the house, שאין נותנים פרצה לפני הכשר ביותר לפני הגנב. אמר שמואל בר נחמני, צריכה אישה להיות יושבת בתוך ביתה, a woman should stay in the house, ולא תצא לרחוב שלא תיכשל עצמה, in order not to be a מכשול, ולא תביא מכשול לבני אדם, ונמצאו מסתכלים באשת איש. So, this is how it used to be. Today it's very different. The Chut HaShani, in the end, Rav Nissim Karelitz, in the end of Chelek Gimel, the last piece, writes the following words. הנה כידוע בדורות הראשונים הייתה הנהגת עם ישראל. The normal way of עם ישראל conducting themselves was שאישה רוב זמנה הייתה נמצאת בביתה. A woman most of the time would be inside the house ודואגת לצורכי הבית, וזהו שפחה. She would be inside the house taking care of the house, and that would be her praise. The more she's home, the more praiseworthy she is. כמו שאמרו, היה שרה אשתך לחבבה על בעלה. When the angels came to Avraham Avinu, they asked him, where's your wife? Inei Bael, he told them she's in the tent. Why did they ask him such a question? Says Rashi, in order for Avraham Avinu to like her even more. The more a woman is closed inside the house, her husband loves her and likes her much more. The more she comes out, she loses that. So that is the reason they ask, yes, Sarah Ishtecha. Avraham Avinu felt he likes now Sarah much more, Nechaveva al Baala. The Rambam, it says the following amazing words. It's degrading for a woman to come out of the house. Pam bachutz, pam bachovot, she comes out sometimes to the street, sometimes here. אלא תצא פעם אחת בחודש או פעמיים בחודש. She should come out of the house only once or twice as needed. שאין יופי לאישה אלא לשב בזווית ביתה. Because the beauty for a woman is to stay inside the house. שכך כתוב כל כבודה בת מלך פנימה. So says the Shevet HaLevi, today things are different. This was then. למדנו מזה סדר החיים הנהוג בזמנם. This is how they used to live back then. This was the normal conduct way of a woman. והנה אף שכיום אי אפשר לכפות על זה אותו. Today we can't force such a thing because it's not anymore practical. אולם יש לידה שגם יוצאות יש לשב בצניעות ובהשקט ולא להתבלט. But at least we need to learn from that when a woman comes out, she should not attract attention, she should be b'tzniut. So that means when you pick up the phone and you answer the phone, you can talk loud and you can talk low when people can't hear you. If you talk loud, that's a lack of tzniut. When you walk down the street, how do you walk? You can walk in a manner that's respectful and modest, or you can walk in a way that's not modest. You stand, you go shopping. You can go shopping in such a way that you bump into people, you ask the salespeople where things are, or you try to make sure that you don't ask anybody. If you have a saleswoman or you have the cashier that's a woman, you ask her, but you don't go around asking men where is this and where is that, and so on and so forth. We can learn from here many other things. But again, to make sure that when we come back to the way dress code of the Torah, the dress code of the Torah is very, very clear over here. Inside the house, it's got to be attractive and pretty. Outside the house, it's got to be respectful and nice, but not in any way to mix the two. Respectful and nice means a woman wears a nice suit, a moderate amount of makeup, not to wear it in a way that's going to attract the eye of anybody. And when she's together with a husband outside, she goes with a husband somewhere, so then it's a level higher than being just nice, maybe go a little bit towards being pretty when she makes herself up a little bit more. And that is the three categories that one needs to know when it comes to dressing up at the dress code of the Torah. Thank you.